Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Hey, good evening everybody. Militia Man and Crew here tonight. I want to thank everybody for being with us. I want to thank everybody for being with us with Patreon and our Discord chat room for so long. It's been almost, it's collectively been over a year. And one of the things that we've really strived forward to do is to keep our Patreon and our Discord chat rooms focused on the Iraqi dinar and related topics and have a positive environment. The world is so full of negativity on a regular basis. It's just really difficult to maintain continuity when we're always trying to look for the negative. But what we do is don't discard negativity, but we do believe that there's a lot of positive. And if you look at the progress, if you go through my videos, you'll notice that I go back in time to help support that feeling of what did they say a year ago, a year and a half ago, and further. But even since al-Sudani got into office, we can see the progress has been amazing. And so focusing in on the positive things, obviously there's negative. You have neighbors that are doing things that are silly and crazy, creating a stir all the time. But the bottom line is the global financial system was said to be needing some confidence. And that confidence is coming through al-Sudani and what our study is showing. So, you know what? Thank you for being with us tonight and keeping that in mind, keeping it in a positive tone, and understand again, negativity isn't something that we don't understand. It's just that what we try to do is keep the focus hey, supportive, because if we all wanted negative news, we could just turn on the TV. All right, well, that said, hey, so al-Sudani in this particular article, which is really awesome, is because it's funny, those little bank stories about JP Morgan Chase and stuff. I'm not going to get into them, but here we go. Here's another little vindication of the fact that al-Sudani discusses trading in digital currencies with JP Morgan Bank. I have to laugh. What is there? There's two of them. They're pretty much the same, but I'll pop through them really quickly. It says here in the news, the Prime Minister's office, so that's Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, and the regional CEO of JP Morgan Bank, right? What was it today? They're in coordination. They talk about technical efforts with the Central Bank of Iraq. So they're talking with the Central Bank of Iraq to establish ideas related to trading digital currencies for central banks. Leave it alone. Obviously, digital, moving large amounts of money. I mean, think about trying to move bricks and bricks and bricks and bricks, or pallets and pallets and pallets of currency at 1310 to do oil deals around the planet. It doesn't make any sense, does it? So I don't think that's what they have planned whatsoever. Not in this environment, the digital transformation that's taking place in front of us. Everybody and their brother knows that this is something that's far different than it was before in the past. And first off, Iraq's 1310 bricks and bricks and bricks of currency were not used for trade, nor were they used for up-to-date building Iraq's country back up to where it is at the moment. So I just dispel those allegations that that's the case. They go on to say, though, that the opening of accounts for Iraqi banks, as well as the possibility of banks participating or their participation in the government's efforts to adopt electronic payment applications in Iraqi's markets. So JP Morgan Chase is basically looking at opening up banks, and they go on to say that they have a coordination of technical efforts between the Central Bank of Iraq and the Bank of JP Morgan was discussed in establishing ideas related to the trading of digital currencies for central banks. Where was that? That was in Davos. You guys, it's just some of the things that are going on. You have to realize that Iraq's going to be a big player in the world, and we've been talking about this for a long period of time. It says Iraq's aspirations, per the Prime Minister, for the bank's cooperation with the Iraqi Fund for Development. There's that word again, development, and the funding of its targets to finance private sector projects in Iraq, stressing Iraq's proceeding with the steps of financial and banking reform to help develop this vital sector. So that statement right there is that there's the Iraqi Fund for Development for the country. I'm assuming that we all believe that that's for the 2023, 2024, 25 budget, which is an investment budget. And what are they going to be doing? They're going to be funding targets to finance the private sector projects. And they're telling us that the financial and banking reform are to be developed, and this is one of their most vital sectors. So I think we can take it seriously. I think all the articles that you're going to see, or you have been seeing on your own, should be able to strengthen your view that, wow, these guys are literally going international. It says that Khalid Hobala expressed a readiness for JP Morgan's bank to strengthen cooperation with Iraq as a government. So they're giving them kudos because they are going to be acknowledged and going to work as a cooperation with the government, with the central bank and the Iraqi banking sector. So look, they're going to open up some accounts for 3 private banks. JP Morgan is involved in that. And again, this next article is basically stating the same, relatively the same thing, saying that while they're at their meetings in Davos, JP Morgan's regional CEO for the Middle East and North Africa, Khalid Hobala, they basically discussed the coordination of technical efforts between the Central Bank of Iraq and JP Morgan in establishing those ideas of trading the digital currencies for the central bank. We went over that. And it also, they're just basically stating that Iraq is proceeding with the steps of financial and banking reform to help develop the private sector and the vital sector. And then obviously it says JP Morgan's readiness to strengthen cooperation with Iraq and the central bank and their banking sectors. Of course they are, because why? It's going to be a massive amount of money coming through there. And they're stressing the bank's orientation at this first stage to open accounts for the 3 private Iraqi banks. It looks like it's they're there to do what? Restore confidence into the private sector. They're to restore confidence, which they said that they were going to have because of Iraq was going to be doing things on good faith back in the UN meeting in September. So we can always go back in time and say, what did they say then? What are they doing now? They're clearly doing what they said they were going to do. Here it says an economic expert. I'm not sure what this guy's credentials are, but it's interesting that this economic expert calls for using a basket of currencies to evaluate the Iraqi dinar. Well, isn't that interesting that some experts are going to be coming out? Why? Because of what things have been done. What has been done? Well, the guy goes on to say that today, the use of baskets of currencies, whether it be the euro, the Chinese yuan, the UAE dirham, in valuing the Iraqi dinar in a way that competes with its valuation in the dollar. That should really get your attention, is because what has the correspondent banks been put in place for? Why did the banks and the correspondent banks have currency swaps with all of those currencies, including the dollar? They did that for a purpose. They did that to do international trade, and they did it to get rid of, I think, the black market, which is the parallel market. Okay, it's an illegal market. They're talking about here, as a result of the high competitiveness of the Iraqi economy in the field of monetary and commodity use in its trade exchange with other countries, and as a result of its use of the dollar at a rate of 95% within the framework of Iraq electronic platform, and for the most diverse monetary exchange, and to prevent the monopoly of a country's currency, they're going to suggest one platform, a basket of currencies, whether it's the euro, the Chinese yuan, or the UAE dirham, must be used to value the Iraqi dinar in a way that competes with its value in the dollar. Well, obviously 1,310 to $1 is not very competitive, okay? Nor is it competitive to the euro, for instance. Okay, it's just not. So keep that in mind, and that was a really good article. So they're going to listen. They're going to have one platform that consists of a basket of currencies. Again, whether it's the euro, the yuan, the dirham, they'll be using the value of the Iraqi dinar in a way that competes with its value in the dollar. So this expert, if I have it right, of economic affairs, is suggesting he knows that there will be a value relationship with other dollars against the basket of currencies that will include the dinar. And that's just what they're going to do. And it's going to be involved with the correspondent banks and the banks, and to do what? with these international accounts, they're going to be doing trade. And that's, I think, is really a big deal. I mean, out of Davos, people are asking, nothing good comes out of there. Maybe so. But here again, what we're seeing is a lot of positive things looking up for the country of Iraq. And whether we like it or not, I think that the progress they're going to make is going to make a big difference and make a big change. They could make some adjustments that maybe some of us don't agree with, or maybe we do. But here again, Iraq and the World Bank are discussing financial and banking reform and addressing electronic payments. Okay, so the Prime Minister, Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, who's been working hard for all the citizens, a good thing. So he respects the fact that the WEF has got some hopefully positive attributes to help his people. So let's give him some grace. What did they do? They discussed with the President of the World Bank, Ajay Balanga, the measures and steps taken by the government of the Central Bank of Iraq in terms of what? Financial and banking reform. So it's amazing. So these guys are basically stating that the government's efforts and strategic plans towards more investment and development opportunities, it looks like they're all underway. These are the things that are going on in the background while they're at Davos, and I think that's it's bullish for all of us. It goes on to say that there's a review of measures and steps taken by the government of the Central Bank of Iraq in terms of those financial and banking reforms and the projects that will be financed through who? The International Finance Corporation, the IFC. You guys got to look these things up. They're important people. They've been around for a long time, and there's a word salad when it comes to the digits or the letters that are exposed, how many different people are working on this project. It's not just the WTO. It is many programs from the UN et al., the WTO, the World Bank, United States Treasury, US Fed, the European Development Bank. All of those people are all in Iraq, are all with Iraq, having meetings, etc., in Davos. And interestingly enough, I've always said that it is not all about Iraq, but it is about Iraq. And we're seeing proof of that. And it goes on to say that the Prime Minister is stressing that the importance of the World Bank reports reflecting realistically the new government's policies implemented in the economic and banking sectors and supporting the private sector, which aim to diversify the economy, increase its growth, and achieve financial stability in light of challenges facing the region and the world. So they're basically suggesting that Iraq's going to do what they said they were going to do. They were going to fix or actually be a benefit to the international financial community and also restore confidence. I think we all know that we talked about confidence for days ahead of this forum at the WEF, and it's ironic that they're talking about that their slogan is restoring confidence. And the fun part is that they told us back in September that's exactly what they were going to do. This isn't anything new. This just didn't happen the other day. This is no copycat information, which is completely silly. But the fun part is that we're watching history in the making while these things go down. And one of the largest entities in the region that Iraq deals with is Saudi Arabia. Basically, Saudi Arabia comes out today and has been for the last few days. I think there's 4 or 5 articles specifically talking about Saudi Arabia strongly supports Iraq's accession to the World Trade Organization. So today it says the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia expressed its support for Iraq's accession to the World Trade Organization, especially after the removal of the political obstacles that prevented it. They basically have said that Iraq has completed everything needed to be done. Everything that they're talking about is just shy of announcing they have WTO accession. You're just not going to have Saudi Arabia embarrassing themselves by coming out with 4 or 5 articles specifically talking about their support for Iraq's accession and for it not to be a serious thing. You got to knock yourself on the head if you don't believe that, okay? It says the Iraqi government is interested in openness to international organizations and as a desire to activate Iraq's presence in international forums. The key word there is their desire to activate Iraq's presence in international forums, explaining that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Fawad Hussein, remember him, seeks to enhance regional and international cooperation alongside the relevant ministries in the government. Al-Sudani has the foreign minister with him. He has the central bank governor of Iraq with him while he's in Davos. So let all that sink in. They're not there to go international at 1310 because it just doesn't work. It doesn't financially for anybody. It says Iraq has a natural and human resources abundance, and they also have specialized workforce in many fields, and that those folks that are in Iraq deserve to be provided with job opportunities. And of course they do, expressing his hope that Iraq's accession to such organizations will contribute to providing such opportunities by increasing investments and in the private sector in the light of current openness and the government's plans to develop the economy and develop all these different sectors. So basically, what is it saying? The Saudi delegation confirms that the kingdom believes that Iraq is a country that has chosen peace and stability. So they're emphasizing that Iraq has chosen peace and stability and seeks to achieve economic development. And so they're going to support them. And pointing to the importance of Iraq to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia from an economic standpoint. They have borders. They have importance for Iraq and the kingdom mutually. So that's awesome. It says the Saudi delegation noted that the kingdom believes that the political obstacles that prevent Iraq from joining the World Trade Organization have been removed. In other words, there's no political obstacles. So again, like I said, they're basically telling us everything that we need to know or we want to know, or we can actually see without specifically stating in a major announcement, for instance, that they have WTO accession, which in effect that may not be the major announcement that the Prime Minister's advisor Al-Saleh had told us about a couple of weeks ago, but we're going to find out. It could be, it may be, but it may not be. It could be something even bigger. So I think that's pretty exciting too. Baghdad and Erbil conclude a new agreement to resume the oil export of Kurdistan, their regional oil. Who says this? Fawad Hussein. Well, who was that? We just got through talking about him. He's with the governor, the prime minister and the central bank governor, and he is the foreign minister and foreign affairs minister, and he is going to say that he reveals that there's a conclusion of a new agreement. A conclusion of a new agreement between Baghdad and Erbil to resume the export of oil through Kurdistan. And when did they do that? They did it 2 days ago. They signed an agreement on how to deal with the oil problem. I think that's kind of like drop the mic type comment. Why? It's because they had to probably have a valuation for the oil that they're going to be exporting. They needed to have an agreement. Remember what I told you guys the other day that we talked about HKM when they showed up in April? Go back in time, HKM and some other companies, big companies, private companies, they all were having a serious issue because they shut the oil down, right? Well, guess what? If you go onto the WEF website, you can see videos of HKM involved with Al-Sudani's teams and people from Iraq specifically. Why? Because they're cutting deals. They're going to be moving oil from the northern region of Kurdistan. And why? Because these big companies, United States, American companies, whether you like it or not, are going to be involved in Iraq's growth. And Al-Sudani is a part of it. Remember those secret meetings they talked about? Iraq has been noted for saying, we'll say things in public, but in private, this is what we want. So here is a classic example, and I talked about it on my last video, that those two meetings and these American companies and foreign companies, don't get me wrong, were involved. And to see these two companies once again dealing with oil and having this document here with the Fawad Hussein saying effectively the day that he left or the day that before they left with the Kurdistan region to get to Davos, they come to an agreement and they signed an agreement on how to deal with the oil problem. And so let's see if they can fix that and get it out into the public public's view, because I think the Iraqi citizens deserve it. I think they're waiting for it. I think they know full well what's going on. I think they have a very good understanding of what's coming, and I'm very hopeful for them, and I pray for those. Here it says the International Financial Corporation, the IFC, forgive me, the International Finance Corporation. We want to expand our business in Iraq as an investment region. They go on to say here that the meeting with that was done in Davos with Al-Sudani, their delegation with the International Financial Corporation headed by the executive president Mukhtar Diop. It says the meeting witnessed a review of the prospects for cooperation between Iraq and international institutions, a member of the World Bank, in light of Iraq's government moving forward with economic reforms and implementing major strategic and investment projects. This is the World Bank, the IFC, largest financial entities on the planet, talking about moving forward with economic reforms and implementing major and strategic investment projects. I don't think it gets any better than this, you guys. They go on to say the government's readiness to develop the scope of cooperation and partnership with the international institution, especially after signing of a contract between the Civil Aviation Authority and the international institution to prepare an investment portfolio regarding the Baghdad International Airport development project to be on the same level as international airports and compatible with international standards in a comprehensive manner. I think you all know that when you open up an international airport, it's pretty much a big deal. It's part of who they are. And they're going to do this through the International Financial Corporation, and as well as they're going to participate in the Strategic Development Road Project and other major projects attached to it. So if you think about building out a whole country, I think that this IFC is slated to probably be in a situation where they're going to be fairly hands-on. It's really pretty good. What is this? Al-Sudani is basically suggesting that they're working with who is this? Al-Sudani readiness. Oh, back to Saudi Arabia. It's just basically saying the same thing. Iraq and Saudi Arabia's governments, they have a readiness to provide facilities for Saudi companies in various fields in a way that will achieve mutual benefit for the two brotherly countries to do what? Build out the private sector. And last but not least, it says that the port of Fa for the year 2023, 2024, you guys, I mean, we've been watching the Port of Fa be built out. It's been stop, start, and they've had some serious progressions in the past. But what are they saying in this particular article is fascinating, because they're talking about this man by the name of Farhan al-Fartuzi. It's kind of a crazy way of pronouncing it, but anyway, as far as Jeff from Arizona is like, you're probably right. I think it's kind of hard to say it with a straight face. He says the ports develop integrated operational plans from extensive studies, and this has enabled us to complete projects with international specifications, and we're proceeding with implementation of the operational plan for this year, which will be implemented at a rate of 100%. That's huge, because the Development Road Project and the Silk Road are going to interconnect. The dry canal they talked about going into Europe through Iraq is massive. And they're talking about this is huge. It says in the coming period, the ports will witness the opening of giant projects. And we are negotiating with a number of companies to establish and develop, rehabilitate, and operate projects and their infrastructure. Al-Fartuzi explains that the large port of Fa has become the focus of public attention. So everybody and their brother is watching for it. And we will make it an integrated global station linking the east to the west through the path of development. Al-Sudani has been talking about this where? In Davos. All of these things have been on the table ever since he took the ground in November of 2022, and he hasn't stopped. The achievements he has, I think he's right when he says that 2024 is going to be a year of achievements, and 2023 is already seeing that, but we haven't quite seen yet the spending of that budget for 23 yet. and nor have we seen a pumping of that oil just yet, and nor have we seen a full-blown accession to the World Trade Organization yet. Why is that? That's because we probably have to wait to hear what they have to say when it comes to a real effective exchange rate, an REER, real effective exchange rate. And so hopefully that's where we are today, and that's where we're going to see in the coming days or in a very, very short period of time. Because as they wind down with the International Trade Fair, Baghdad ends on the 19th. I think the Davos meetings end on the 19th. I think that there's a political, I believe 100% there should be a political statement that could be a conversation between some American political side through Politico tomorrow at about 10:30 in the morning in Switzerland with Soudani, and that could take about a half an hour with John Harris, and he's the founder of Politico. And then also it's interesting that day happens to be a day where the Bank of International Settlements has a bilateral exchange rate meetings, whether they're related or not, but at the same time time zone differentials, Iraq's banks close on a Thursday, which is the end of their week, at the same time. So does that mean anything? I don't know, but I do find it interesting. Do I find a lot of these things coincidental? Of course not. Do they broadcast things? Yeah, we talked about confidence, right? They talked about confidence in the September meeting with al-Soudani about confidence, banking, financial system, and then now here the WTO is restoring confidence. And who's one of the main focuses in these meetings? One of at least the ones that we're reading in the last few days. A good portion of that is Iraq. So thank you everybody for this report, or being with me for this report. And if you are new with us, thank you for coming tonight. And please hit that like button. And if you so like to subscribe and help keep this content moving, be so kind as to a small donation through the details with Venmo, PayPal, or Zelle. Thank you very much, everybody. Look forward to seeing you again. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content. Subscribe to the channel or join us at the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated, as always. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much and have a great day.